This is a Hyundai Ioniq 5, one of the most anticipated EVs of the year. And in this video, I'm going to tell you guys what you need to know before you go out and purchase one of these. So don't buy one, air quotes, before you watch this video till the end. It's actually a brilliant car. I do like it a lot, but it does have one or two major flaws that may actually be a deal breaker for a lot of people out there. So watch the video till the end so you find out what those deal breakers may be. So guys, I'm Chris, Chapow, the EV Ninja Apprentice, and let's get on with this review. Let's kick off this video with talking about the exterior design of the Ioniq 5. And I've said this earlier in videos, I think this is going to be an iconic design. I think we're going to look back at this in like 5, 10, 15 years and think that is one radically cool designed car. And why don't we make cars like this anymore? It's a bold move by Hyundai, but it's a really cool move. And this car gets a lot of attention. And I think mostly it is very good looking, though the front end really doesn't work for me. I mean, it has these really cool DRLs, but I just think it looks a bit sad or mean. I don't know, it's not working for me. The side profile though is much better. Look at this, guys. It's cool, it's sleek, it has that retro style to it. It looks like a Lancia Delta from the 70s and 80s. It's a really cool design, but it's actually much bigger than people think. People have, approach me and say, wow, that's much bigger than it looks in pictures. People think it's like the size of a Golf, but it's actually 4.63 meters long, 1.89 meters wide, and 1.6 meters tall with a ground clearance of 170 millimeters. So it's about the same size as an ID4, Audi Q4, and Mustang Mach-E. So it's about par for the course for its class, though it has a really long wheelbase of almost 3 meters. I think it's about 3 meters. It's really long, that wheelbase, and you can see that the front wheel and rear wheel are tucked all the way to the ends of the car. But this is my favorite angle, guys, the rear 3/4 with those taillights. I think it looks really cool here. And even though this paint color is pretty cool, it's a bit weird against, the silver details there. I think I would go white or black just to get contrast. It's a bit too close in my opinion, but yeah, it's a really pretty design mostly, but I do understand that people may, not like it. It is a bit polarizing. But guys, let me know in the comment section down below, is this your favorite car in this class, or do you prefer the look of any of the other EVs at this price point? Oh, before I forget, guys, I'm actually giving away a Zaptec Go home charger worth 700 euros to a lucky subscriber once we hit 30,000 subscribers. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway, you have to click that subscribe button down below. And once we hit 30,000 subscribers, I will be shipping that to a lucky person from anywhere around the world. I'll also be paying for that shipping, of course. And also, guys, if you want to support the channel and the video, hit that like button down below for the almighty YouTube algorithm. So thank you very much. Stepping into the cabin of the Ioniq 5 is a very nice experience indeed. This is a nicely appointed, exceptionally built cabin, and it may just as well be the best cabin at this price point in an electric SUV. It's better than the ID4, it's better than the Skoda Enyaq, it's even better than the Audi Q4 e-tron. And where materials are maybe not as good as the Mustang Mach-E, it has much nicer switchgear, and also the layout is better here. It's a really nice cabin, and I only think it's better at this price point by the Polestar 2 and also maybe the Volvo XC40 P8 Recharge, because those cars are actually true luxury cars at this price point, though this is bigger than the XC40 and is an SUV, which the Polestar 2 isn't. But I thought I should just mention those two interiors just to illustrate how good this interior actually is. So materials are pretty nice. I do love this light colored interior. It's right up my alley. You guys know I like light colored interiors, but also the switchgear here is really good. I mean, Hyundai have really upped their game with the Ioniq 5. So buttons on the steering wheel are nice. You have this cool drive mode selector here, which is a button, but it looks like a toggle like you would get in a Porsche. And then you have the stalks behind here. Everything feels nice. And you also have these secondary buttons on the sides here. Glossy black plastics that you don't use a lot. It just looks nice. That's a smart place to put glossy black plastics, but not here though. But again, it's a flat surface, easy to keep clean. But what I'm really huge fan of is the gear selector down here. And I know other reviewers have bashed this and said they don't like it. I think it's the perfect placement. Look at my elbow and look at where my hand rests. It's perfect. So you just do that and then you park there. It's much better than the gear selectors you get up here on the ID cars and also BMW i3, where you have to do a stretch. Here it's just perfectly placed. So kudos to you, Hyundai. Cool placement. And then you have the HVAC controls underneath the screen here, which is a very cool idea, but the execution isn't the best. Let me explain. So you have, your buttons here to do your temperature, which is really nice up and down, but it is touch. So you could have put it in the screen, just made a bigger screen. You could have, I don't know, saved real estate or saved money. Because when you have to do anything other than adjusting the temperature, you have to go into the menu. So you want to adjust the seat temperature, you have to go into the menus. You want to put on the steering wheel heater controls, you have to go into the menu. So you have shortcut buttons here for your fan speed and stuff like that, but most functions you are using daily, especially when it's getting cold, you have to go into the menu. So they should have just made the menu or the screen better. So it's a cool idea, but not the best implementation. But what I do commend them for is this volume knob. Again, kudos to you, Hyundai. We're battling against the touch capacitive buttons, and you guys are playing the game on the right team. But the rest of the interior is airy, it's spacious. You have this center armrest thing here. You can adjust forwards and backwards, which is pretty cool. I don't know what functionality that is. Maybe if you want to get out that way, if you're parked all the way into a wall or something, it's easier to move this out of the way. But I'm not a huge fan of this just being empty down here in the center here, because it feels like I'm driving a minivan. And with the seating position, now I set the seat a little bit backwards to somebody who would be above 1.8 meters tall or above 6 feet tall. You don't get enough reach in the steering wheel. And again, I'm not the tallest person, but a friend of mine who is 1.87 meters tall, I'm going to put that up in feet and inches on the screen. He sits like this. So with the steering wheel at an angle and you're sitting like this, you have to hunker over, and then you have this open area. It really does feel like you're driving a minivan, and you may not care about that, but it kind of takes a little away from the luxurious ambiance you get in here with this interior. And also the seats aren't the best either. I mean, the lumbar support kind of feels like you're being poked with a stick in the back. It's strange. So I've done a few long trips with this car now. I mean, like 500, 600, 700 kilometers. And after a few hours, I have to get up and I start to get, back pains and stuff like that. But again, this may be just to my body style and body size. I really recommend you guys to go out and test drive one for yourself to see if you're comfortable with the seat. So, if you can, borrow it like from one day to another or for a few hours so you really get to test out the seats. But other than that, this is a brilliant cabin with a lot of space, and the trunk is really big, 527 liters. The front though is laughable 24 liters with the all-wheel drive with which this car is. And also, I've complained about the rear seat space in my first impressions video, but I'm going to overlay a video here of my friend again, who's 1.87 meters tall, sitting in his driving position. And he doesn't have a lot of space behind himself. People were saying like, this is the biggest car in its class. And it may be that, but because of the seat design here, you get that rear seat all the way up into the passenger compartment in the rear seat. So it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. Maybe the Ioniq 5's strongest playing card is the way this thing drives. It's quiet, it's comfortable. It's not as quiet as the MEB platform siblings or even the Mustang Mach-E. There's just a tad bit more road noise, but wind noise I think is on par. But I mean, at this point, all of these cars are so good and very, very impressive. But where this car really shines is in the ride comfort. This is better than the MAB platform cars. It has more suspension travel, giving it just, you know, an extra layer of refinement. And where I would usually say the Mach-E is the best riding car, this rides even better. It just feels more sophisticated, better tuned. This car has McPherson struts in front and multi-link rear suspension, and that really pays off. It gives this car geometry and possibilities in this hardware to make it ride better than its competition. So it's really good riding. It's not the sportiest, but again, this is an electric SUV that's meant to be quiet and comfortable. I'm not looking for that when I'm looking at a car like this, so I don't mind at all. Steering lifeless, light, but again, visibility is great here. It's quiet and comfortable and spacious. It's a real nice car to take on a long trip. The Ioniq 5 can charge up to speeds of 220 kilowatts according to Hyundai. I though have gotten a little bit better speeds in my tests, and you long press here to open up the charge port, and then you have to remove this flap here. This though is a 150 kilowatt charger. So let's see what kind of speed we do get now. We're at 24% battery. We haven't been driving the car too much. We've been doing, you know, just driving around here for shooting today's video. But initializing is fairly quickly, and I do like the placement of the charging port. But in my test, my 10 to 80% charging speed and charging time test, which I will link down below, I have managed to charge this from 10 to 80% in just 22 minutes with an average charging speed of 146 kilowatts, or in kilometers per hour, which may be even more important, this car with the 20-inch wheels at 822 kilometers per hour. That is insane. That is the second fastest charging car, both in time and in kilometers per hour, I have ever tested. But that's if you get a 350 kilowatt charger, or not a 350 kilowatt charger, but a charger that can deliver more than 220 kilowatts to get that maximum charging speed. But here though, at 25% with a cold battery, we're only getting about, I'll show you guys, 67 kilowatts. Hopefully this will climb a bit, but what I've experienced with this car is that you have to drive it a bit to be able to achieve that maximum peak speed. And also WLTP, this car with the 19-inch wheels is 460 kilometers, this being the long range all-wheel drive version. And also this with 20-inch wheels only has a WLTP of 430. And in the tests I have done, real world testing, I've been able to get between 270 and 300 kilometers on the motorway, which may be a bit disappointing to some people, and I am also a little bit disappointed by that. But that goes only to show you that big SUVs that are large and have four-wheel drive and dual electric motors and a lot of space and weight, this is about 2.1 tons, so it's not the most, you know, heavy. They will use a lot of electricity either way. So it's not only Audi, it's not only Volvo, but also a Hyundai SUV will also use a lot of electricity with this power. Each of these dual screens are 12.3 inches, and they're quite nice. Not the best black levels, not the best brightness or resolution, but for this class of vehicle, they are totally fine. You have this screen behind the driver, but you can see here the steering wheel opening here is a bit small. I wish that was bigger because sometimes it obstructs the view here, and also sometimes, as you can see here, it will show the map view. If I press the map view, it will show the detailed map view down here in the left corner of the screen, which will be obstructed by the steering wheel. So I found that annoying. I have to move my head, you know, around like that, but that's things, you know, nice to know. So you have all your information you need. You have your battery percentage. You also have, you know, a visual battery gauge. You also have your recuperation, speed, all the information you need, though I wish you could customize it a little bit more. Of course, you can show different views, you know, but it's basically the same. You can't, you know, make the gauges bigger or smaller and then show like a map in the middle like you can with other cars. That would have been nice if you could have done that. But then you have the screen over here also where you actually have the map. This is not my favorite map, guys. I have to be honest. The navigation system here is not the best. I've been using Google Maps with this car, and then it's fine. It's not the best. The graphics are really old school. And also, how do you go home now? So you have shortcut buttons here. You have map, nav, media, and then a programmable button there. But there's no home button here, and it took me a while to figure this out, but you have to press the screen and then you get the home button there. And you can see the refresh rate isn't the best either. It's okay. I mean, it's logically laid out. And then you have the hard buttons down here, but it is okay. But for some reason also it defaults to FM radio when I get in and out of the car, even though I've been listening to music on my phone. So I have to go into media and then I have to choose my phone, which is also a bit annoying, and it's just a lot of pressing. I mean, it's easy to use, but there are better infotainment system out there. Hopefully, or thankfully, you do have these hard buttons down here, which are shortcuts, and you also have a volume knob. That's really nice. This also has a head-up display with augmented reality. Again, not the clearest head-up display, so I actually don't use it because I just find it unclear. It's not very focused for my vision, and I don't have bad sight, guys. So it's okay. The infotainment system is okay. It does the job. It's not the best, and also the button layouts here is also a bit confusing. It's not the most intuitive, and even after a week in this car and a few thousand kilometers, I'm still getting used to the button layout. But I'm sure once you get used to it, it is okay. And then the last thing I want to mention, guys, is that this does not have, in Norway, you don't, at least I haven't been able to make it work, the parking with the key. So you can park this car with the key fob, drive it in and out of a tight parking spot, but that doesn't work in Norway, and I have tried, guys. So if you live in Norway and this works, please let me know in the comment section down below. Do I have to enable it somewhere? How does it work? Because I have not been able to make it work, guys. So this is something I've been experiencing in the past week I have had this car. So ignition is on and I want to put it into drive, but it doesn't let me put it into drive. And then I press the start button. It's not into drive. That's because it's not detecting the key, which is in my jacket right next to me here. So if you put that closer, no. So let's go ahead and find the actual key, which is here. Okay, now I have the key on me. Let's put it into drive again. No, it won't. Okay, ignition on. Yeah. So it's not able to find the key, and I've been experiencing this. You know, you hop in and out of the car with the key, you get back in, and it doesn't detect the key because you're quicker to, yeah. So what you have to do now, probably like that, belt off, long press. Now it detects the key. So now we can go. Let's see if we can put it into drive. It says ready, it's beeping. Yes, now it's into drive. Okay, another annoying thing while we're rolling, let me hop out of the car. Okay, ignition is on, and that's fine. It just beeps. This thing likes to beep, beep. And also, if you want to open the trunk, yeah, this thing just likes to beep all over the place all of the time. So I just drove the car 50 meters to move it without putting on my seatbelt. And usually cars, once you stop, they start binging at you. But this car, even in park, look at this, guys. My foot isn't even on the brake. The car is in park. And it just constantly beeps. What's up with this car and beeping? And this is interesting. Let's see, because this happened the other day. Off with the ignition. And then let's put on the ignition. It's still beeping. What the heck? Okay, guys, I'm not a complete idiot. I do understand that this car bings and bongs because of safety, to remind you that you forgot to turn off the ignition, to remind you that you pressed the button to open the trunk, to remind you that when you stopped the car, you weren't wearing the seatbelt before you stopped the car. I understand that. An annoyance, yes. A deal breaker, no. I can totally live with that. But what I may not be able to live with, and a lot of people may not be able to live with, is that I have been experiencing throughout the whole week thermal throttling while charging. So let me explain. So I charge, get, you know, that immense charging speed I've talked about, and then I disconnect. I go out on the motorway, and then I have severely limited power. I have no warnings, no labels, but from the power meter I can see it's not giving me full power. It's about giving me half power. And if that's correct, that's only about 150 horsepower. So that is very annoying. And when I was driving yesterday, it went like almost a full half hour before I was given full power. And for a lot of people, especially living, down on the continent of Europe where speed limits are higher, and especially Germany, that will probably be a big issue if you're not able to utilize that power. And when I was driving yesterday, it was like below 20 degrees. What happens when it's 30 degrees outside? You want to blast on the Autobahn, you connect to a 350 kilowatt charger, you go out on an Autobahn, and then, well, you're not given power. For me, that's a real issue, and I hope that Hyundai fix that, because other than that, there aren't any major issues with this car. At the end of the day, the Ioniq 5 is a very good EV. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's fast, it's spacious, it has a really nice interior, and then you have the exterior styling, which absolutely sets it apart from all of the competition. This being the long-range all-wheel drive version, it has 305 horsepower, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.2 seconds. That is plenty fast for most people. That being said, if you get that full power, which I have had issues with, well, after charging this car. And also the range isn't the best, especially this car with the 20-inch wheels. It only has a WLTP range of 430 kilometers, which is a bit disappointing, being a brand new dedicated EV. So hopefully they can improve on efficiency. They can give this car maybe a bigger battery in the future. But as it sits now, this is a very, very interesting purchase at this price point. Is it the EV I would buy for this money? I'm not sure. It has a few issues that I find a bit annoying, maybe would be a deal breaker for me, the seats and also that thermal throttling. Until they fix those things, this isn't my favorite EV in this price segment, but it is up there. It is a brilliant car. So guys, let me know what you think down below. Is this your favorite EV? Have you bought one? Did you consider one and bought something else? And why did you buy something else? And why did you choose this over other EVs? So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always guys, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.